with ACPTA. Today's topic is college support for juniors and seniors. And we have some great panelists. We'll have a chance for question and answer, and then a chance to talk among each other. So thank you for that. We're going to start. If you can click on participants at the bottom of your Zoom and then go find your name and select next to your name, there's more. If you go to rename, and you can change your name to your first name and the school that you're associated with. And put that in parentheses, and that way we kind of know what we're looking at. And for today, if you want to too, you can add, if you have either have or are a junior or senior, if anyone wants to add that, that might be valuable information for our panelists to know. We also want to invite everybody, after our panel, we're going to have an exercise where we reflect and then we come back together to talk. So if you can get a piece of paper and something to write with, go ahead and get that now so you have it available when we get to that section. We're going to stop recording at that point and shift our conversation after our panel and our Q&A. So thank you. So in the chat, if people are familiar with chat, you can raise your hand if you need help with that, but I think by now we're all kind of figuring it out. If you can go to the chat and put two things in there. If you can write just your current mood and your favorite animal. Good stuff coming. Relaxed, a lot of relaxed, a lot of dog, octopus, which is a good one. Happy bear, a hopeful longhorn, very nice. Some awesome answers here. So thank you guys for that. Very fun. Manatees, full from lunch, very nice. So the purpose of our check-in and connect is to connect with other people during a time of rapid change. Everything is really, we, day to day don't know what's coming, and we felt a real call from people asking just for a way to connect with others around topics and just kind of open-ended. So these are serving that purpose. Want to know about the resources that are available, specifically resources that we haven't needed before in this changing world. So we're here with a very specific focus on that today. We want to share what we know and name what we don't know. I think with every topic, and definitely with this topic, there are as many questions as answers. So I think it's important to acknowledge that and you kind of name that and work through that together. And then meet up with people you may know and meet some new ones and people with similar questions and interests. And then find a path so we can continue to navigate these varying needs that are here for all of us as this evolves and as the needs shift and change. So what we'll do is at the beginning, we're going to have about 15 minutes of our guests speaking about this topic. We have Maritza Gonzalez, who is the College and Career Readiness Coordinator for Austin ISD. And we have Christina Almeida, who is with Breakthrough Central Texas. And Christy can tell you more about Breakthrough, the organization, and the students they serve. Both of them will be back with us tomorrow for the same topic in Spanish. So please invite friends to join us tomorrow as well and continue to share this. So after they answer some questions from us, we're going to go and have a Q&A with guests with Maritza and Christy, so you can ask questions of them. And then we're going to turn the recording off and do some reflection exercises and some discussion. And then we're going to close out by sharing what emerged for you today. So let's get started with our guests. We're going to have our guests introduce themselves to everybody. So let's start with you, Maritza. If you can briefly tell us about yourself, just with 1 or 2 minutes, which organization are you with? What is your role? Kind of what does that mean? And what do you love most about the work? What's your why with this work?
Okay, thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here with you all. My name is Maritza Gonzalez. I work for Austin ISD under the high school office. I am the College and Career Readiness Coordinator, and I help support most of the even middle school campuses, but primarily the high school campuses, work hand in hand with the Project Advanced College advisors at each of the campuses. And just provide a wealth of as much resources as I can and support, of course, in all the areas related to college and career access, financial aid, TSI, Naviance support, and so many other areas that may arise, focus in advancing college and career and military readiness for the district.
Fantastic.
I think there was a second question.
Yeah, what's your why? What do you love about this work?
Why? I've been in counseling. I'm a credentialed teacher and a counselor and an administrator, certified administrator as well. But I'm very passionate about counseling, in particular college and career. I was at a campus at another local district for a number of years prior to entering this role at the district level. And I've been 3.5 years in to AISD, but I'm very passionate about walking and helping students directly access post-secondary, any type of post-secondary education. And I think it's exciting seeing them kind of the fruition or the results of all the work that has been done throughout the years. And I get to ride right front and center with them there. And so that excites me very much.
Thank you. Christy, would love to hear the same from you. Thank you. And if you could explain a little bit about Breakthrough and how it fits in with the work of the district also.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Like Maritza, thank you for having me. Christy Almeida. I am the Associate Director of High School Programs for Breakthrough Central Texas. What we do is support students who will be the first in their family to go to college. We support our students starting in middle school all the way until 6 years after their high school graduation. So we are with our students for a very long time. We recruit from Austin ISD. We also have a programming out in Maynard and Del Valle. I've been with Breakthrough now more than 8 years. And currently I serve in supporting our college access and post-high school work for our senior students. And I think I answered the question of like my role. I'd like to just point out that our students the majority of students I work with are within Austin ISD, but they're also in some charters and some other schools in the Austin area. And we work a lot with them as well. We work with offices like the ones that Maritza works with. We have different partners at every different campus. Why I love this work, why I love what I do. I am a first-generation college graduate. I am one of the first in my family to go and graduate from an institution of higher ed. And I'm also a first-generation American. So I believe, like many of the students that we work with, I'm able to support them. And like Maritza said, we see their growth all the way from 6th grade to college graduation or their successes after high school, and that's really an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So we're gonna we have 2 panel questions that we'll talk about, and then we'll head to our question and answer. And Christy, we'll start with you. What is different this year for college-bound seniors and juniors post-COVID? What are the new questions and challenges? What has changed? What has remained the same? And what do families need to know right now?
So that's 2 different groups of people, right? That for our seniors and our juniors, I'd like to start with our seniors. We've seen from our perspective is, the financial circumstances of families have changed. they're either reduced hours or they are not working currently. So that's a big challenge, thinking of how to pay for deposits and enrollments, and thinking through the payment plans come fall. That has changed. But what hasn't, but what has remained the same is the appeal processes for universities. They all have, you know, a unique way, but one of the commonalities that we've seen is if financial circumstances have changed, either in the 2019 school year or 2019 year, sorry, or currently, you can file for a financial aid appeal or go through the financial aid appeal process. Other things that we have seen, universities have been more flexible in their enrollment deadlines. I believe a lot of the schools changed their deposit and enrollment deadlines from May 1st to June 1st, both within Texas and outside of Texas. Definitely some exceptions, right? The other thing that has changed, well, as we know, access to our college advisors or counselors at schools, right? That has changed, and it's all electronic, it's all through email. But what remains the same is that they do want to support. They are in one way, shape, or form able to talk to all of you, talk to the students about their next steps. So that's for seniors. I'm not sure if we want to go to juniors or hear from Maritza.
Sure, I would love for you to share for juniors, and then we can hear from Maritza about both as well.
Okay. Yes. So for juniors, ACT and SAT has been on the horizon, right? And since March, they have postponed their testing dates. We know that there's no testing dates in the summer. They have all, I believe the earliest one is in August, right? So that is a big change. I know a lot of students were preparing to take the test in March and in May and during the summer. So in that, a lot of the ACT and SAT, or the organizations, the testing, they have just made sure that everybody is able to change their testing dates, right? And they have access to online prep courses. I've also seen that some schools are going to test optional in the fall. Not many as of this moment, mostly the Ivy Leagues like Cornell, I believe, was on the list. So that's like a really big change for some of those schools if they go to test optional for juniors. I'm looking at my notes here. But yeah, those are the two big changes I've seen for juniors.
Okay, thank you. Maritza, I'd love to hear from you. Things you have to add about the same question, kind of what is different for this year, what do families need to know and do and plan for?
Yes, I'm not sure if I could add so much more. I think Christine pretty much nailed it right there. I think just to start off, yes, while we're in a time of a lot of uncertainty, a lot of worries, anxiety, I definitely, from what in my conversations, webinars, and all the reach out to college universities, not only within the state, but across the nation. The recurring message has been that flexibility, what Christy alluded to, having some flexible systems in place. Their personnel is there front and center. Now they're doing it through a virtual mode, but everything is available, and they're extending a lot of the deadlines. They're providing a lot of flexibility. So for example, when it comes to FAFSA and a student gets a flag and they must provide additional documentation, like the IRS document from the history of their taxes, now they will take other supplements like a picture of their previous income tax. Or just, there's just different accommodations that they're making for students and families. Transcripts, for example, some colleges are not necessarily pretty much requiring the official transcript. They could upload a non-official copy that they say the college advisor makes available to them online. Test scores, TSI. I know before some students had to jump many hoops to get an official individual score report of their TSIs from their campus. Now for us in AISD, of course, it's included in their transcript, they honor that as well. And a student could also take a screenshot of those scores and submit them to the universities. So just a lot of flexibility and working in the item there, the financial circumstances that have changed or continue to change for many families. Universities are definitely have already systems in place, and they're expanding those systems for students to submit either a letter for extenuating circumstances or a letter of appeal for their financial aid packages, or resubmit additional documents so that they could be looking at how the circumstances have changed and will impact them going into the fall 2020 as a college freshman. And so trying to connect them to the financial needs that they might need for college access. Stay the same. I mean, there's a lot of the, same items. So for example, something stay the same, that this is a scholarship season. So we are, hands are fully into scholarships right now, and there continue to be multiple scholarship opportunities for students. So once again, with the same eye or lens of the flexibility, a lot of scholarship providers or donors that have extended a lot of the deadlines. I keep getting multiple ones, and we usually channel them through the campuses to also share with the students and the families as well. In the districts, we just finished, like Austin Community Foundation reviews of scholarships. And there's a good number of additional scholarship deadlines that have been extended even well into the summertime as well. Just to add on a little bit more about the juniors piece, I think it's too soon to tell what much would change for them, but for sure, as Christy mentioned, the SAT, ACT, while a lot of their administrations have been postponed, they are looking into, of course, virtually allowing students opportunity to test there. A lot of colleges or universities are moving towards more of a holistic review process for students applying for admissions, particularly with the junior class, the class of 2021. And so not necessarily relying on the test scores and the GPA, but they will do more of a holistic review and look other aspects in reviewing students for admissions. So that's forthcoming for the juniors. In AISD, I want to say that, and I compare it to my previous school districts that I've been at, I feel like we're blessed that with our associate soup, Dr. Craig Shapiro, for the last few years, have secured through the district, of course, funding for our juniors to take the SAT school day. So they took it not too long before we went into this COVID mode. And so they have that under their belt. So at least if the juniors were on that campus, I believe it was March 4th, if I'm not mistaken, they took the SAT school day at least one sitting at that time. And so I know
that's a huge advantage to our juniors,
Correct.
definitely.
Correct.
And that's a great thing that we do district-wide. So that's super valuable.
Yes.
Good, thank you. So Christy has one thing to add about juniors before we go to the next question, and then we want to leave some time for Q&A too. So Christy, you said you had something to mention about juniors and research, college research. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, this is the season where students, typically juniors, begin to look at their college research, looking at safety, match, and reach schools, right? And one thing to know is that through, like, one of the things they consider is their testing, and they have that, like the SAT school day, at least they have that score. And then when it comes to their GPA, the GPA that they will have right now is the one from the fall semester. So when they're thinking about match and reach and safety, they're going to have to look at that GPA. It will remain the same until the next the end of the fall semester. I believe that there's like within Austin ISD, I think you can get an update on your GPA midway through fall semester. And maybe Maritza, you can talk about that.
Yes.
As they continue their research, they will be using those two sets of data.
Yes.
Great. And one nice thing I hear is just the flexibility that every college understands, that Austin ISD is working with students to understand that everything is disrupted and there is flexibility. There are people ready to help. So that's encouraging. That really leads into our next question. is how can families best support their student? And where can parents and I would say students find support? Who can they reach out to? I've heard you mention counselors, outside organizations that work with students, and universities themselves. Can you just talk about finding support in all those different ways? And we'll start with Maritza.
Okay. I think that there's we've been, slowly but surely been building up a whole wealth of supports. We have a lot already available through our website, AISD, and I had a couple of slides that we could definitely share with you all that are participating. But there's multiple links there. But one of the main key resources that has become available for about a week or so is through Austin ISD website, College and Career Readiness. There are some FAQs for college and career readiness, which gives you not only a short answer to some of the pressing questions or burning questions that might be lingering out there in terms of the changes in FAFSA, financial aid, how to keep up with the changes in college admissions in terms of deadlines, processes, and NACAC, that is National Association for College Advising, has an interactive website in which college and universities advisors update on an ongoing basis. And so a student, a family, a parent could go easily go in through that to that website and look up the college university nationwide that they are interested in finding changes for, and they are able to get some specifics there. And of course, it will also give them links directly to that college's, where in their website they have that updated information. And that's the one at the very bottom right there, the Access College Admission Status and Updates. So these resources here at the top, the FAQs about college and career readiness, you could find them in two places in the Austin ISD website. It's in the College and Career Readiness webpage, which I've had live for the 2.5 years that I've been with the district. Now it's getting more attention. People are realizing, oh, there's information there. Well, there's a lot of resources listed there in terms of exploring college options, career exploration, financial aid, resources, helpful links, TSI, scholarships, and it does give information about our Naviance system that we use at all campuses, middle to high school as well. And the FAQs, you could find it there. It's English and Spanish, so you don't have to use Google Translate. It has been translated and it's posted right below the English questions. And we will continue to update that. That has been a collaborative effort with Dr. Shapiro and myself. And we have just a lot of links that will get you to the right person and the right resource that hopefully will give you that peace of mind and those answers that, students or families may be needing at this time. And then of course, the NACAC that I mentioned to you all there. So I think those are just some of the resources. And of course, the direct help and support. We have the Project Advanced College Advisors, and there's, I think, one more slide at the bottom, if you don't mind posting it for me. I appreciate it. Right here, so the high school Project Advanced College Advisors, there's at least one college advisors, and I did posted the list there. It's kind of tiny, but it is in the FAQs, and it is listed on the website. So you could easily go into the email, the link for that Project Advanced College Advisor, which they are, as we speak, they're reaching out to families and students. Something really neat that in AISD that I'm very, very proud of came out during these times is that usually around this time of year, we usually sent out to seniors a senior survey to complete with a very extensive number of questions to really learn more about their future plans, what steps have they taken, what additional supports. In years past, because it's been done for many years, in years past, much of that information usually was more for a data tool and for future reference. Now we have a live dashboard that has been uploaded or made available to campus administrators, counselors, college advisors within AISD to access real-time responses. So that, for example, if your senior student fills out, and it was cut down to about 12 questionnaire, and it doesn't really just go, really in depth to all the specifics about your post-secondary plans, but they also ask real-time questions as to what help do you need at this time? How can we assist you? And so we are taking action steps in response to those responses. Campus principals, counselors, college advisors, so that if there is a needs that immediate needs that need to be addressed, we are trying our best to really get those resources to the students, as well as capture updated contact information for students and families, because oftentimes that's something that's difficult to keep updated.
Thank you. And I put links to those in the webpage. If people want to put their email addresses in the chat window, we can also try to get that PowerPoint and share it with you, if that's okay.
Yes.
I'm with you, Maritza. Thank you. And
we can
question on that.
We can put emails. Can we put emails at the very end after we stop recording,
Perfect.
please? Thank you.
After we stop recording, yes, thank you. And Maritza, can we, are the college and career advisors available over the summer, or does that end when the school year ends?
I guess, so thank you for asking that question, because that brings me to a point that I overlooked mentioning when you asked about resources. So yes, so a lot of the efforts will be continued throughout the summer. So during the summertime, we usually strive to offer what we call Summer Melt. It's a Summer Melt program that's been in place in collaboration with the Direct to College enrollment, the DTC7 in the Austin Chamber of Commerce. In the recent years, we have been cutting down to advisors supporting 2-3 campuses at a time due to funding and financial reasons. For this year, Dr. Shapiro has approved for us to go full force with that program, which means that there will be additional support and follow-up. And of course, the primary focus group is going to be seniors, but that outreach is available to juniors as well, because summer will be that key time. A lot of our high-achieving juniors and those that are applying for some of the Ivy League schools or out of the state colleges and universities, even though those college applications usually become available as early as July 1st, they need that help and support, and they have those pressing questions in the summer. So college advisors, I can't guarantee that all of them will be, but majority will be available in the summertime. And one more resource that I did want to make mention that you could be in the lookout, and I'll be more than happy to share that link once available. Next Tuesday, the DTC 70 with the Austin Chamber of Commerce, they will be hosting a panel with college advisors from UT, A&M, Texas State, ACC, and potentially a private university in the area, whether it be St. Ed's possibly or Concordia. And even though it might not be open to the general community to access, it will be recorded and it will be available for students and families. So I'll be sure to share that link after Tuesday.
Yes, thank you very much. And they are inviting the public to participate, to watch. So we can share the invitation. I've received the invitation and I'll forward it to people.
That's great.
Thank you. Christy, same question for you. And we have just a few minutes and want to leave time for questions. Where can people look for support? Where can people look for answers right now?
Yeah, I think what Maritza covered was right on. What I can provide is a couple more pro tips. One huge pro tip that I have for all families and students is the power of reaching out to financial aid offices and admissions. This goes for both juniors and seniors. I know that it's a lot of work. Potentially you call and you get redirected, or you have to wait some time, but once you get a hold of those officers or those individuals, they're able to provide one-on-one support for your student, for you. They can pick up specific information, and I know that's easily said, but I know that a lot of students fear doing that. Like, oh, I have to call and pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Well, that's very powerful, just asking questions about how their application sentence, their financial aid award, their deferment process. I know that some students are considering deferring their admission for 1 year. And again, that's a case-by-case basis for each university. We reached out to a couple of public schools, and they don't have a particular process. And while private schools might have a process already set in place. It just really depends on where your students are going and what they are considering. I do know that a lot of schools, public schools that we work with, universities are hoping to open in July and hoping to open their dorms in the fall. And you know, that's all to be determined based on what happens. But again, reaching out to the financial aid and admissions office. For juniors, Maritza mentioned Naviance. Again, you're in the season of college research. Naviance has an amazing ability to have, like, this is the student's profile. These are some of the schools that I want to consider. Here are some facts. Very useful information there. And
every AISD student has access to that, right?
Every AISD student should have a Naviance account.
Perfect.
And parents are able to also set up their accounts as well.
Very powerful. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you both so much. I would love to get some questions coming in. We have a couple of questions posted. One, just some nuts and bolts questions. Do we know when the PSAT is being offered, if that's happening? And then does AISD have a policy on excused absences for college visits? Do we know the answers to those quickly? PSAT dates, usually, of course, they're scheduled around the October time date that they give us for administration. Unfortunately, we have not even began to look at contracts for this year with the College Board. So yeah, so we don't have that date, but usually falls there. And the SAT school day, if we are approved to move forward for this coming school year, it usually happens either in March or April. They give us a date to choose for the whole district, and we're boxed into that date. But we have not begun those conversations. We usually hold those conversations usually after May, early June, once all graduations and we close for the year, then going into the summertime. So we will be posting that information once available. And the next question was about excused absences for college visits. Is there a district-wide policy, or is that campus by campus?
Yeah, there is a policy in terms of attendance that the student could be excused up to 2 times junior year, 2 days junior year and 2 days senior year for college visits.
Okay, thank you. So there's a question here. If we don't go back to the school, and Christy, I'll start with you on this one. If we don't go back to school physically in the fall, how does that impact juniors applying?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think that will be something that the universities and colleges will have to discuss. Like, what does it mean for students who are coming from a district where there's no grades, who are coming from a district where it's pass fail? That's all going to depend on the colleges and universities. And I know that they're probably going to push the districts to produce some sort of grading policy. But yeah, that's a really great question.
And I guess we can wait. And I don't know if people saw, but the Cal State University system, which is maybe the biggest public university system in the country, announced yesterday that students will not be back on campus in the fall. So I think this is evolving quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the I will say plans that we revisit as K to 12 school districts also mirrors a lot of what the colleges will be doing too. So I think if anything, that can put us a little bit at ease that, you know, we're kind of having those conversations back and forth and kind of moving with the times and ask for, so I know initially in our district when there was those talks about past, you know, incomplete, I know there was a lot of concerns of how it would impact my junior, how it would impact my senior for college admissions. Well, many colleges are going also for pass, no pass, or pass, no fail. And so for juniors applying for admissions at this point, right, what I have heard thus far, it's exactly, I think what Chris, I believe, mentioned earlier, that as opposed to using a transcript that will go all the way through the end of junior year, usually in the past, you know, we make a push for students to make sure that you finish off strong junior year, because that's more than likely the GPA that you will be using to apply for college admissions. Now the GPA for the year will end at the end of January, which is at the end of fall. So the spring is not going to impact. I mean, it's not going to help, but it's not going to hurt. their
Great.
GPA.
And I guess everyone's in the same situation, so that helps. Here's another question that's come in, and just a comment from above that we recognize that most of our high schools really don't have enough counselors to really deeply kind of serve all the students, to give students as much time as they would like. I think that's part of why it's so important to have partnerships with outside groups that can help, and I know there's so many that do good work. But just some thought that families could really push for additional college advisors on campuses to help carry that load. And then a question, a very specific question, and then we're going to move on to our reflection. Someone asked, where can I find more scholarships for college? And if I'm going to ACC, when is a good time to apply? And I think this is from a student.
Yes, well, for scholarships, I posted a few resources. They're also available at the College and Career Readiness page in AISD. And of course, Naviance. We use Naviance also to post scholarships. We have just a very large number of scholarships that are channeled through our department, and we continuously are posting and produce through the district or through the high school office a scholarship newsletter, a scoop. It's usually has been sent in the past monthly. We've been trying to do it weekly or bi-weekly, and that is usually sent via Naviance to families, primarily of seniors. I know some campuses share with junior families, and if it hasn't been done, I'll be sure that it starts being done, because I know a lot more scholarships are opening up for juniors as we speak now in preparation for next school year.
Thank you. And I see Christy is putting some scholarship search engines in the box as well. And then just so important for people to know that the biggest awards and the awards that last 4 years often come from the universities themselves, and something that I think is important for families to be aware of and keep in mind. And I know college advisors and outside groups that work with students are really good about ensuring that families know about that. And I see Christy putting a note in here about the FAFSA, the federal application that gets Pell Grant money and is a really kind of the first step in financial aid at so many places. So the FAFSA and also the TAFSA, the Texas version for people who are staying and looking at public schools. Thank you both so much for all that you have shared and done. And I feel like we could stay and talk with you for a very long time about this. So huge gratitude for that. Thank you for the contacts for other people. And thank you for coming back tomorrow to talk with more families. I really appreciate it. And we're going to do some reflection and discussion. You are welcome to stay with